Canadian Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre congratulates Mark Carney on the election while taking aim at Trump's tariffs. So here's the concessions that Poilievre gave to Mark Carney winning the Liberal.
So I would like to congratulate Prime Minister Carney on leading this minority government. We'll have plenty of opportunity to debate and disagree, but tonight we come together as Canadians. We will do our job. Yes, we will do our job to hold the government to account. But first, we congratulate people from all political backgrounds on participating in the democratic process. And as I said, while we will do our constitutional duty of holding government to account and proposing better alternatives, we will always put Canada first as we stare down tariffs and other irresponsible threats from President Trump. Conservatives will work with the Prime Minister and all parties with the common goal of defending Canada's interests and getting a new trade deal that puts these tariffs behind us while protecting our sovereignty and the Canadian people.
So there's his Canada First concession. We're going to hold Carney accountable, but also more anger towards Trump. So this is kind of what shot him a bit in the foot and why Pierre Poilievre lost a lot of support in the election process. He is right about a lot of things, but he also tends to get things wrong, as we all do. But considering in his perspective, considering his popularity and why people endorse him, why people love him, it really blew back on him. So take this for instance. This is the good side. This is the good Pierre Poilievre that people really supported. So as Table Salt pointed out, Pierre Poilievre calls for Arrive Scam. That's the Arrive Cam tracking app they spent millions of dollars on. DC Strategies owners to be arrested and dragged to the House of Commons after revealing that $250 million worth of contracts have been awarded to the company, which operates out of a basement. Where is the money, Justin? So, when Pierre Poilievre was the opposition leader to Justin Trudeau, this is where he shined. This is where he shined the most, is calling out the hypocrisy, calling out the misuse of tax dollars, calling out this BS, and highlighting the real domestic crisis that's happening right under our noses, whether it being, the drug overdose, the housing crisis, the cost of living, our trade within our country, within provinces, our treatment to Alberta and Saskatchewan, which is why now with Mark Carney as Prime Minister, that's going to be even more jeopardized. Who knows what's going to happen with that? So this is where Mark Carney really shines, but wait to see where that turning point comes.
For a 5-person company that operates out of the basement of a cottage for IT services, even though the company admits they don't do IT work. Well, common sense conservatives are calling GC Strategies and its employees to testify under oath at a parliamentary committee. They're refusing. And so we've put forward a motion to have them arrested and physically dragged into the room to explain where our $250 million went. Where's the funds? Yesterday, Liberal MPs started a filibuster. That's a talkathon, talking into the mic, running out the clock to prevent GC Strategies officials from being brought into committee. What have you got to hide, Justin? Why won't you bring in these consultants to explain why you gave them $250 million tax dollars? If you've got nothing to hide, get your MPs out of the way and let us bring them in here.
So that I support. That's the kind of person, especially running an opposition party, you would expect from the opposition, is to hold the main party accountable with stuff like this. $250 million. $250 million they went to this Arrive Cam app that was created during COVID to track and surveil and monitor people. And now it's enhancing because that all the tactics during COVID never went away. That was beta testing to make sure that now we have the technology to track, surveil, and monitor you and control you at every point in turn. $250,000. Where did it go? They still have no answers to this. They still have no answers to this. And this should have been brought up at the debate. Something like that should have been brought right to Mark Carney's face. Hey, I understand you're now the appointed leader that just got here off the boat and 2 weeks ago? But your party wasted $250,000 on an application built in a basement. Where did the money go? Where did the money go? And why are you building this application to track, surveil, monitor, and manipulate people? What is the purpose of this? So, here's another great point that Pierre Poilievre. This is when he was good. This is when he was the most popular, that people idolized him, that people respected him. Is when this is back in October 2024. After 9 years of this NDP Liberal government, food prices have risen 36% faster in Canada than the United States, and nearly a quarter of the populations live in food insecurity. So anytime that Pierre Poilievre hammered hard about this, people loved it. They loved it. They couldn't wait for someone like him to replace Trudeau. They couldn't wait. And then he lost this election because he got away from this. He got away from this material and started repeating the same garbage that everyone else was doing. Because I guess to be in the it crowd, be part of the political group, the gang, you have to say this exact same garbage they're saying. You have to repeat their talking points. Or maybe he was blackmailed. Who knows at this point? But here's him in the House of Commons making that statement.
9 million Canadians live in food insecurity, according to Food Banks Canada. 9 million, that's 23% of our population. 23%, twice as high as the rate in the United States. Food prices have risen 36% faster in Canada than in the States, and that gap has happened at the same time as the implementation of the carbon tax and all the government greed. Now he wants to quadruple the carbon tax.
Not Trump, not the tariffs. We had high food prices way before this. And it's because of the carbon tax, because of the inflation, because of all the things they're saying here that he no longer says anymore. Even in his concession speech, he said, well, we still got to fight against Trump. It's like an echo chamber. He's saying it, the CBC saying it, Arnie's saying it, Jagmeet Singh saying it, everybody's saying it. It's amazing the people that despise Trump the most keep uttering his name. Literally fascinating.
And starve even more people. Why not have a carbon tax election so Canadians can vote to axe the tax?
So that was Pierre Poilievre at his high point.
9.
And now, that was 2024. Here's just recently. This is what really drove Pierre Poilievre's campaign off a cliff to disaster. Because he went from talking about domestic policies like that to this. President Trump, stay out of our election. The only people who will decide the future of Canada are Canadians at the ballot box. Canada will always be proud, sovereign, and independent, and we will never, never be the 51st state. Today, Canadians vote for change so we can strengthen our country, stand on our own 2 feet, and stand up to America from a position of strength. Clearly, Mark Carney said almost the exact same words. This looks like a cut and paste from the Liberal Party campaign. And Pierre Poilievre's now using the exact same verbiage. So he went from talking about how Canadians' food prices are skyrocketing, how we need to fix situations here. There's a housing crisis. There's a homelessness epidemic. Many people are dying from overdose over fentanyl. You went from that to just recycling the same propaganda garbage that every other party, every other media outlet is just throwing out to people. And this is what lost him a lot of respect. This is what lost him a lot of votes, is stuff like this. So underneath that, Megan Murphy, who is a People's Party candidate, she was a People's Party candidate in Vancouver, I do believe, East Vancouver. And she recently had to move to Mexico. She moved to Mexico. She got fed up with the tactics from the people that wanted to defend the Canadian democracy away from Trump, but don't want to defend democracy from other Canadians. So Megan Murphy, who got debanked, by the way, because she was running a campaign they didn't like, apparently, says, seriously, this is what you decide to post today. Get a new advisor. This ain't it. So he posted that on election day. He posted that on Monday, that morning. It's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. Here's Government EXE is Corrupt, says Pierre Poilievre wanted to retaliate with dollar for dollar tariffs on the U.S. He also wanted vaccines quicker and to close the border faster. He stood with Ukraine and implied Christine Anderson was a Nazi. So he not only is he repeating the verbiage from the Liberal Party, he also stands on the side of big pharmaceuticals. He stands on the side of the war machine, titling this catastrophe in Ukraine. And because he's committed to it, because he's compliant with it, he's going to call a member of the European Union who only wanted accountability to the vaccine rollout a Nazi while supporting Nazis. This is the huge missteps. This is the huge failings of Pierre Poilievre. You saw the good, now you see the awful. And now you see why people, a lot of conservatives in Canada, are frustrated with this guy. And why he completely dropped the ball. Because he went from hammering hard on domestic policies and why the Trudeau government completely failed Canada to this garbage. This sounds like every other Yahoo in Parliament. The same Yahoo that applied a Nazi twice. A legit Nazi twice. When it comes to big issues, how is he any different than Trudeau? Exactly. You're supposed to be the opposition leader. And yet I don't see you opposing to any of this big stuff, which means you are compromised. You are also corrupted. You are also part of the same status quo. It just goes to show you that politics in Parliament, much like the United States, is just one big circus. It's like pro wrestling. Both sides get paid either way. Both sides don't care. They're part of the same club. And you ain't in it. Even look he's wearing. He's wearing the Ukraine colors. That doesn't seem like Canada strong. That doesn't seem like Canada first. I didn't think Ukraine was the 14th province. And here's also another point to add to this. This is kind of more how I feel was the start of the letdown. Was, you remember, Pierre Poilievre was asked about the ongoing trial of Tamara Lich and Chris Barber. So the two organizers of the trucker movement, he was asked on their thoughts of the ongoing trial, the lawfare that they were trying to throw at Tamara Lich and Chris Barber. Then they had to cancel the trial. Then they had to reschedule it. Then they couldn't find any evidence. So then they had to postpone it. And then they had to go back for another trial. And then they had a mistrial. Then they finally charged them with with mischief. Minor mischief. And they're sentenced for 2 to 5 years. Meanwhile, we have mass murderers, criminals, rapists running on the streets. They're getting bail from the Liberal Party. So Pierre Poilievre was asked on his thoughts on the ongoing trial of Tamara Lich and Chris Barber, two organizers of the Freedom Convoy who faced mischief-related charges stemming from the peaceful anti-mandate protests. And Pierre Poilievre, his Conservative Party, seemed supportive of this. At least that's what his liberal rivals keep saying. Oh, he supported the organizers. He supported the takeover of Ottawa streets. Well, here's where he fell short on even that. Listen to this. It says this week, a trial for the organizers of the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa begins. Do you think they were given a fair trial?
On verra, il n'y a pas eu un procès.
We will see. There has not been a trial yet, so I can't comment on something that hasn't been taking place. Is it fair to have a trial like this, to judge what these people have done?
Je comprends pas la question. Est-ce que le procès qui n'est
the
pas
question.
arrivé déjà
If the
est
trial
juste...
hasn't happened, I can't
Je ne
comment
peux
on
pas commenter quelque chose qui n'est...
No, what he's asking is, do you feel that what they're doing, having this trial and prosecuting them, is right? Do you think it's right to prosecute Tamara Lich and Chris Barber? He couldn't even answer that. Could not even answer that. But yet, every publication, everyone that was against Pierre Poilievre kept writing down, oh, he supports the organizers. Oh, he's a traitor to the country. He brought coffee and donuts to the people. Oh, the people that took over and occupied Ottawa. Oh, he's a villainous traitor. Can't even support the two people that organized it. The two peaceful activists that organized it. Can't even say a word about it. So Pierre Poilievre seems more like a grifter. This is what a grifter would do. He's gonna wait and see. I'm gonna wait and see. That's what a grifter does. I'm gonna wait and see what's more favorable for my campaign. What's more favorable for my business, for my politics. Then I'll come out with the decision. Instead of actually having principles to understand that, hey, you were supportive of the Freedom Convoy. Doesn't it seem kind of ridiculous that you don't want to comment on the trial of two major people? Doesn't that kind of contradict that? Doesn't it kind of contradict your party stances? And I don't know what the gimmick is here. I don't know if it's trying to cover for the fact that he's trying to avoid the Liberal Party crashing at him. They're going to do it regardless. That's politics, baby. The Democrats do it to Trump. Trump does it to the Democrats all the time. That's common. They're going to bash each other. They're going to be knuckling heads constantly. You got to stay ahead. You got to stay on path. You got to keep to your commitments, keep to your promises, and have real principles. Which sadly this guy didn't. And that could be one of the many things that lost his riding and lost the prime ministership, lost the election. Also 91 candidates in his riding. Just saying that that alone is a scandal that I doubt he's going to speak up about. He didn't even mention that in his speech. Maybe he is blackmailed. Maybe he is being manipulated. Maybe he is being compliant to the higher power that's really organizing all this. Really knows.